How is it going, boys and girls? Welcome back to Key West Waterman. How is... Do you want to do it?
No.
Do it, come on.
I don't know if I can. How is it going, boys and girls? Welcome back to Key West Waterman. I am Madeline Lowe.
God. Alrighty, we are going to do a little bit of diving. I woke up this morning and I've really been craving black grouper. And I haven't had a lot of it lately, so we're gonna go out and try and find a black grouper. I haven't been doing a ton of videos on the big boat. As a lot of you may know, gas is kind of outrageously priced right now, so it's not really affordable to take the big boat out. But I'm literally gonna go straight south just a few miles, so hopefully it'll only be 50, 60 bucks in fuel. And hopefully we can locate a black grouper for dinner. I figured I'd bring you guys along. I'm gonna cover a little bit of some free diving stuff, how to weight yourself, and then some other just kind of breathing techniques and how I warm up for my dives. Had a lot of questions about it, so I'll cover a little bit of it, but other than that, let's rock and roll. So I pulled up to the first spot I had in mind. Got lots of different spots. Like I said, I just wanted to stay close to Key West so I'm not spending a lot in gas. And you can see my numbers here. Then it's not really an exact spot, more of an area. This is kind of the thick rock. It goes out to sand. The main thing I'm looking for is I've got a bit of life there. You can see there's some decent thick marks. So typically that's the main thing I'm looking for, is a food source, some type of bait, yellowtails, blue runners, barjacks, whatever it may be on the bottom, just to kind of create some life. You know, bigger fish got to eat littler fish, so we're gonna anchor up here and give it a look. So one of the popular questions I've been getting lately is how much weight you're supposed to wear. Unfortunately, it's not a question I can just answer off rip. It depends on how much you weigh, your body fat content, where it is that you're diving, how deep you're diving. Me personally, I've been doing it for so long, I can fairly, for the most part, ballpark it depending on what kind of suit I'm wearing, how deep I'm diving. It even goes as far as where you're diving, because different areas have different salinity. More salt content, you're gonna float more. Less salt content, you're gonna sink more. So general rule of thumb for me, if I have new divers that are trying to calculate it, get completely suited up, everything you're gonna be wearing, get in the water with how much you think you need, and you wanna completely exhale. Blow all your air out. And you still want to just barely be buoyant, floating at the top of the water once you exhale completely. That is not a professional opinion, that's just my opinion. The reason being, if God forbid you do black out, you still want to be buoyant and float at the top of the water so someone can find you. A lot of times I see people, when they're trying to breathe up, they're actually sinking and they're having to fight themselves to float. Not only is that unsafe, because if you do black out, you're going to sink straight to the bottom. You're killing your breathe up. You're on the surface using all that energy trying to stay buoyant. You're not getting an efficient breathe up, so your dive's not going to be very good. And lastly, another mistake that I see a lot of people do, I'm a big fan of these silicone weight belts because they're kind of stretchy and they last quite a long time. You'll see us, we leave these long tags on here. The reason being, this is a safety release. I see people all the time take the long tag and they'll go like this and they'll tuck it in to get it out of the way. So now if you're on the bottom, you shoot a fish, your line gets wrapped around your knife, whatever it is, a shark grabs it, now you're strapped in here. You literally have to sit here and fumble with this. This is a safety. You leave this long, something gets caught, and that comes off just like that. So that is a question I've had, wanted to answer it. I will say the water does not look ideal, but that is reality sometimes. I know on the postcards they make it look like Key West is gin clear and the Bahamas all the time, but water doesn't look so hot. But I'm gonna get in anyways. I was born in the Merc. I grew up diving Port Canaveral, where you find the bottom with your face a lot of days. So I actually have no problem diving the Merc. I actually kind of enjoy it. I feel like it's better stalking conditions. But anyways, we're gonna get suited up. We're gonna get in and see if we can find our grouper. I don't know. Welcome back underwater, everybody. I did want to say real quick, if you are interested in getting a Banana Gun 2.0, we're almost done with the first batch and we're working on a release date for the second batch. So I will announce that information on here when we are ready, and probably on my Instagram as well. The link for my Instagram is in the description. So I wanted to show you a little side view of kind of my breathe up. A lot of you guys are asking about breathing techniques and whatnot. I'm not going to go crazy in depth, but I just want to show you that I'm literally laying on the surface, kind of limp for lack of a better word. I'm trying to just be as relaxed as possible, not move anything. I'm just trying to soak up as much oxygen as I can before I take my dive. So I want to relax everything literally from my toes to my head. And during that process, my eyes are normally closed. And you'll see my entry here. I see this is a mistake a lot of people make, is their entry is a little sloppy. I do a couple of flutter kicks, get some momentum, and I just roll into that dive. I use my weight to roll down, get my body under the surface so my kicks are more effective. And then I tuck my head and down I go. So we're going to jump over to my camera. And as you can tell, visibility was not ideal this day. This is a great spot, normally has a ton of grouper on it. The camera actually makes it look better than it was. If I extended my gun out for a shot, I could probably only see another 3 feet past the end of my gun. And as I said, you know, it's not always clear in Key West. I know on the postcards and the commercials they show you these, you know, crystal clear blue waters and flat calm. It's not always like that. It's just the truth. A lot of times we do get these strange pushes of water that'll come through and the reef gets really, really dirty. So that was my first drop. Scanned around, saw everything I wanted to see. There were yellowtails and little snappers and stuff. Just did not see the grouper that I was looking for. Whew, it is murky. Like murky.
I tried to follow you down, and then I was like, well,
It's like 8 feet of viz, maybe. So the problem I'm having, I can see the rocks and there's a lot of life, but like the dark pits where the groupers normally are, you can't see into because it's so fuzzy. But I'm gonna do one off the deep side and see if I can catch one out in the sand or something. It's just they're too camouflage. So jump forward. This is actually my 7th dive on this spot. So I've done 6 previous dives. These are actually a fish. I think they're palometa. Correct me if I'm wrong. It's the only spot I have that I see those fish. If you can eat them, let me know. Maybe I'll go out there and shoot them. They're on that spot year round. That's literally the only place I've ever seen those. Anyways, I've already done 6 dives here. Getting kind of frustrated because normally I see at least one grouper here, but it is just so murky that I'm really having a tough time even locating anything. As I said, the cracks are kind of too dark, and to go down there and search with a flashlight's almost pointless. And you'll notice here the camera's exposure is kind of changing on its own because I don't think it can focus. I did not alter this video at all. You'll see it kind of goes from green to blue. I dropped a little deeper this time and the water was actually dirtier the deeper I went. I went out into the sand, which was about 73, 75 feet, I think, if I remember correctly. And even the camera's having a hard time focusing. You can, like I said, you see the tint of the footage change. And I am just scanning, and there are no fish in sight. So that was 7 dives to about 60, 70 feet. And I haven't even pulled the trigger yet. So you'll often catch me looking at my watch. And the reason for that is it's giving me information on my last dive. So I'm going to pause this frame and show you. If you look at the bottom left, it shows me my depth. That is my depth of my last dive, my maximum depth. The bottom right is my dive time. So that last dive was 1:27. The deepest I went was 73 feet. And that big number in the middle is my surface time. So that's how long I've been up on the surface catching my breath. Not necessarily catching my breath, but that's how long I've been up on the surface since my last dive.
We may have to call the pizza guy. I said we may have to call the pizza guy. Yeah, me too. I love pizza.
So first spot was a bust. There was just life all over it. I'm kind of amazed there was not a grouper there, to be honest with you. But we moved down about 3 miles and the water actually got really nice. It looks like there's a lot of current, but we are gonna hop in. This is what we're looking at. About 60 feet almost, just some chunky bottom with quite a bit of bait on it. So we're gonna hop in and investigate. So something that has always amazed me about Key West is how close different bodies of water can be. The fact that I went from literally less than 5 feet of viz, and I went 3 miles, and now the visibility is almost 50, 60 feet. It's just always been kind of an impressive thing to me. It shows you how powerful the currents and the tides and nature really is. I think that's pretty cool. So this is new spot, second spot of the day. This is dive number 8, literally first drop. You can see the visibility is much more enjoyable here. Kind of just scanning around, and I eyeball a grouper here coming in, and he's going under this little ledge. So you can see I kind of hold my gun back because I think he's going to come out of the backside, and then I see he kind of stops and he doesn't continue to go. I think he thought that he was more camouflaged than he actually was. Kind of gave me the perfect broadside shot there, and luckily the banana gun shoots straight and I hit my mark. You know how big of a fan I am of stone shots, and one less thing I have to do is fight that fish on the bottom. It's a beautiful black grouper, exactly what we had in mind. So we've got dinner for the week. And as always, bleed as quickly as I can. Even though that fish is stoned, that heart will stay pumping for a little while and it'll expel all that blood out of the body. That is all we need.
I've got dinner covered, baby. Beautiful. Beautiful fish. Sometimes you get lucky. First drop.
You stoned him?
Yeah.
Look at you!
Alright, we eating. Let's go home.
Nice.
Yeah, I dropped, was just kind of scanning. Dang, he's bigger than I thought he was. That's a beefy one. Just kind of scanning. He was sitting out on top of this rock, and he real mellow just went and sat under this shelf, and like I guess he thought I couldn't see him. And I gave him a dose of potassium. Here you go.
Yeah, baby.
So I normally take the shaft out of the fish before I get in the boat. That's something I actually see a lot of people do, is throw a fish in the boat completely alive with the shaft in it. You're just kind of asking for trouble there. But this guy was stoned.
Yes.
So a lot of you guys like to see this kind of information. That last dive was 59 feet, minute 4. What time we get out here, like 10?
Mm-hmm. It's like 11.
So that is dive number 8. So I took 8 dives. I know YouTube land makes it look like you shoot a fish every single time. I went down to the bottom 60, 70 feet 8 times to get 1 fish. Love it. And that is our dinner, so we will see you back at the house. It's a healthy one. So if you've been watching long enough, you know I'm kind of a stickler when it comes to letting fish properly cool and what I call rest. 1, I think it makes the meat a little better, and 2, it is so much easier to fillet a cold fish. If you've ever tried to fillet a warm, loose fish, it is kind of a pain. But I've got our grouper from today. What time did we get in, babe? Like noon? I let it rest about 6 hours. So we're actually gonna use this entire fish like we normally do, but I mean entire this time, like ribs, collar, the rack, everything. So I'm gonna break it all the way down. And I'm gonna take the guts out first.
Looks like you drew a crowd.
I always do. What do you smell, Tipsy? A lot of times I gut these in the water, but if I'm being honest, after that dirty water, I was so pumped to find a grouper, I forgot. Oh. Nice fresh knife, I like that. Something I want to show you real quick. So I always preach bleeding. Some of this did not bleed all the way. You can see a little bit of blood coming out of the veins there. Now if you don't bleed a fish and you go to fillet it, depending on the fish, you'll have a lot of blood coming out when you're doing that fillet job. And you know, is it a game changer? The fish is still edible, but you're just dealing with a lot of mess, a lot of blood. I just think it's easier to do it earlier. A little wild. I know, the birds are just been thrilled lately. So I mention this a lot. Some people take the ribs out, some don't. And what I mean by that is some of them take it, when they take the fillet, they go around the ribs. Some of them cut the ribs out. I cut the ribs out. That's why I always have a serrated knife with me. I've got fillet, that beautiful rib section. Will's actually going to take this and cook that on his channel. I'm going to keep the rack, the collar. The head's going to be soup. This fish is going to feed us for at least a week. Whew. So we're gonna take that. I'm not gonna do this tonight. That's gonna go on the grill. I've done episodes about this. So much meat left on those racks. Between those little, the bones, the backbone, all that. A lot of meat left on there. We've got our head that we're gonna make soup with. We may put the collars in the soup. I'm not sure yet, I haven't decided. We've got cheeks. Lots of great stuff here. And you want the collar, or the ribs, correct, Will?
Oh yeah.
So Will is getting some ribs for his channel. Go over to Cooking with Clams, check that out. Will is the king of the offcut. Tipsy, would you like a piece? Would you like a piece of fish? Okay. Is that yummy? Fresh grouper? Those are my pin bones. Actually skin. So in the canal. Pin bones and a little fat for Tipsy. He was like, yeah, I can eat that, man. See you in the kitchen. I said make the whole batch because I will eat these things for days.
No, I'm talking about, do you want like a mac and cheese or?
Oh, we can do mac and cheese.
Okay.
Love mac and cheese.
Are you filming?
Yeah.
Oh.
All right, we're in the kitchen. Tonight we are having Brussels sprouts, a la James. This is James Ferrera's recipe, so I can't take credit for it. I wish I could because these things,
They're like candy.
they might as well not even be a vegetable
Yeah.
after we're done with them. So tell us what you need for Brussels sprouts.
Well, you need a Brussels sprout. Some honey, raisins, bacon. We start cooking that first.
So you start browning the bacon first.
Yeah. And then we toss in the Brussels sprouts, and then these guys, the sweet stuff, goes in
And
last.
then raisins, honey. So raisins, honey, Brussels sprouts, bacon. We're gonna do some mac and cheese, which is straightforward. And we've got grouper in the fridge. I'm gonna do that in a cast iron. Brussels sprouts take the longest, so we're starting those first. See you shortly. Oh man. All right, so what have you done?
Nothing.
Nothing.
I'm just.
You brown the bacon,
Yes.
add Brussels sprouts. How long you steam them?
20 minutes
Ish?
ish. It just kind of, you'll start to see them like soften and get darker. And you just wait until it's all ready. There's no like, it's flexible.
Okay. So we've got cast iron ready for our grouper. Avocado oil. Super duper hot. You can see it's smoking. Literally thick grouper fillets. Salt and pepper only. That is it. Well, that's until I put the chunks of butter on there. So I'm gonna sear these. I've done this before. I'm gonna cover it again. It is so good. Great with tilefish, grouper. I've done it with yellowjack. I just want to sear those really hard on each side so it makes a nice crunch and it keeps that moisture in there. Oven is preheated at 350. I've got some Kerrygold butter on standby. And we're ready to flip. You gotta show me chopping butter.
Oh.
If they don't know how to chop butter, they shouldn't be cooking. Ooh,
Let it
nice.
sit a little bit longer. But then let them out.
Alright. Let them go a little longer.
I like really crisp.
I don't wanna.
Tuna wants it too.
Alright.
Ooh, yeah, like that. Yeah. Ooh. That's good.
Yeah, I should have let that one go a little longer. Look,
It's okay.
that's okay. Alright. I never claimed this was a healthy meal.
An inch of butter on top.
An inch of butter. If you need, you can weigh it out, half a pound. Each piece, it's already hot.
Gotta be careful. Yep.
Oh god, there's like 6 cast iron skillets in there.
Nice ring.
We love our cast irons. So that'll be in there. Those are pretty thick. They're about 2.5 inches. Probably set them in there 12, 13 minutes.
Oh.
Did you already put the raisins in?
I sure did. They gotta marinate for a little bit. So honey is the complete last step.
Honey's key.
Oh yeah.
So those look great. When I was younger, I hated Brussels sprouts. I despised them. And I learned that if you just cover them with enough sugar and bacon and raisins, anything's delicious. So that's 12 minutes. Like I said, these are thick ones. You can see they're just starting to kind of come apart there. So that looks, ooh, that looks right. Exactly where I want. We're gonna plate this and do a taste test, and I'm waiting till it cools down this time because I burn my mouth every single time.
I have a butter pool on top of mine.
A butter pool?
Yeah. Look at that.
Ooh.
That's gonna be where I dig in. Can I go?
You can go.
Oh yeah.
You gotta try this recipe. Salt, pepper, butter. You wanna do it with a nice fresh fish though. Anything. I've done this, like I said, I've done it with grouper, yellowjack, tilefish. It's really good with tilefish. Really let you enjoy the flavor of the fish.
The crisp
Stays
edge.
moist, the crisp.
Crisp edge is good.
It's hard to beat. And thank you, James Ferreira, for the Brussels sprout recipe. I'm telling you, you gotta try these things. But that is all we've got for this one. Thanks so much for coming along. As always, leave ideas. Like I said, won't be doing a ton of the big boat stuff coming up. The gas prices are killing me. So we'll do a lot of GNU stuff. If you got any other ideas for the GNU, the little boat backcountry, anything other than mangroves and grunts and what we've been doing, let me know. Barracudas. We will see you on the next one. Later.